Hello there my dear friends, and welcome back to another very exciting Star Wars video. Mark your calendars, 2027 is going to be the year of Star Wars, the franchise revival, and it kicks off with something fans have been clamoring for decades. Today we have some huge news. So excited to bring this one to you guys, and it's not the first time we've spoken about this, but today we have a massive update. To commemorate 50 years of Star Wars, Lucasfilm is re-releasing the original movie in theaters. Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. Or if you're an OG fan, you just know it as Star Wars. But the classic movie is getting a wide re-release. And the question we've been debating for months now is, which version is it going to be? Is it going to be the theatrical cut? Would they dare go against George's wishes? Or is it going to be the common special edition, the version you can find on Disney+? Well, today my friends, thanks to StarWars.com, we have our answer. In a brand new update, they've confirmed they're doing a wide release of the way Star Wars was meant to be seen. And this is taking place between February and April of 2027. So just before Star Wars Starfighter and just before Star Wars Celebration in LA. And here's the thing my friends, yes, this is great news, but I want to touch upon something I haven't seen any other content creator mention, and that is just how big of a deal this is. Because you might be thinking, well, you know, it's the 50th anniversary, it might do well in the box office, it's just going to be like every other anniversary release. No, my friends. This is very different from the 25th anniversary of The Phantom Menace or the 20th of Revenge of the Sith. Not only is it the original Star Wars movie, and so by default, you don't have the prequel haters who are not going to show up to it, but they're promising a restored theatrical cut. And I'm sure many of you know about this, maybe some of you are part of this community, but there's an entire sub-niche of Star Wars fandom that is dedicated to analysing, discussing, and restoring the original version of the OT. And so for Lucasfilm to officially re-release the original cut, this is going to be a huge win for Disney. Does it reek of desperation from Lucasfilm at a time where they need a win? Absolutely. I don't think anyone's denying that. And we talk about Star Wars Starfighter being the big 2027 release, but I think it's going to be this. And keep in mind, only a couple of years ago, Return of the Jedi's 40th anniversary release broke box office records. Star Wars fans and their families showed up in droves for it, and it was the special edition. It was the version they could just watch on Disney+. But that shows you that Star Wars used to be an event, and it should remain as such. So even if people do have access to A New Hope on DVD or Blu-ray, the appeal of the OG version should not be understated. I'm telling you guys, this is going to do better than even Lucasfilm expects. But let's move on to a couple of caveats. While this is being marketed as the theatrical cut, it's not going to be one for one. It's going to be very close, but the best way to describe it is a modern scan and digital restoration. That process involves cleaning up visuals, but also the sound mix. But in either case, it's extremely close and as good as it gets. Considering Lucasfilm could have avoided all of this and just put the special edition in theaters, I would say we're very lucky. As a Star Wars fan for the 50th anniversary, we couldn't really ask for more. Especially as fans who never got to see the original trilogy back in the day because we either weren't born yet or we never had the chance, this is going to be huge. I guess the question is, just how wide is this so-called wide release? Kathleen Kennedy did host a version of it at the BFI in London, so I'm hoping it's not just going to be for the US. But the second caveat, which I think is very important to specify, is one which you might consider a hot take. The special editions have become so de facto that it might come as a shock what some original scenes actually look like. The most obvious example is the Battle of Yavin. The CGI shots of the X-Wings and the Y-Wings don't exist in the original cut, and nor does the scene between Luke and Biggs. But the biggest differences are on Tatooine, and again, this is a mixed bag. There's some good, but also some bad. A positive to the theatre cut is Han shot first. However, Mos Eisley is going to look much smaller. The special edition gave Mos Eisley more life. It's bigger, busier, with more droids, aliens, the dinosaur-like Rontos, and even Dash Rendar's ship. Another addition to the later versions are the dewbacks. One more note about Tatooine, no Boba Fett, and no Jabba. I mean, they could do the human actor from the deleted scene, but it's going to feel very different. Also, less aliens at the cantina. However, the Wolfmen are back. But overall it's going to be interesting, because when Lucasfilm did the special screening at the BFI, it did receive a mixed response. While most fans were just happy to see the way Star Wars was originally made, some millennial and Gen Z fans did state there's a reason the special editions exist. They just felt it was too jarring. But I, for one, cannot wait. I personally see the charm in the way Star Wars was originally envisioned. Even if George disapproves, even if he thinks it's half complete, even if he says any version outside of the special editions is not the final product, I think fans who weren't around in the 70s are going to be thrilled to have the opportunity to see Star Wars, the original Star Wars, back on the big screen. It's going to be a huge anniversary. And another major question I want to address is, does this mean episodes 5 and 6 are also getting restored? Are we getting, for their respective anniversaries, a despecialized version? Officially, we don't know, but according to fellow YouTuber Eckhart's Ladder, the answer is yes. He says he's seen proof of restoration being done on Return of the Jedi. But if that's on its 50th, we have quite a few years to wait. What I think they're going to do, and this is just speculation, is they're going to release the despecialized editions on Disney+. It would be amazing if, in addition to the cinema release, they allowed fans to physically own those versions. That would be a game changer. But don't underestimate the box office success of this. This could be the biggest Star Wars event of the year. And speaking of 2027, my friends, let's take a gander at what's coming up. Let's hype it, because we're nearing the end of 2025, which was a rather quiet year for the franchise. But next year we have The Mandalorian and Grogu, Ahsoka Season 2, Maul Shadow Lord, The Ninth Jedi series, and then 2027 rolls around, and it could be the biggest year for Star Wars in a very long time. On February 19th, newly restored version of Star Wars in theaters, that's A New Hope. April 1st to April 4th, Celebration in Los Angeles, and your girl's gonna be there, Star Wars Meg, coming to America. May 16th, the 25th anniversary of Attack of the Clones. Now this one's a bit of a weird one, because I remember the 20th anniversary was during Star Wars Celebration in 2022, and they didn't do much for it. But considering the recent re-releases of The Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith, maybe they'll decide to do something then. And then on May 25th, which some fans say is the real Star Wars Day, the official 50th anniversary of the franchise. Celebration is a month earlier though, in April, and I'm hoping George makes an appearance. By that point, his museum would have been open for nearly a year, so who knows, maybe he'll make a presentation, do a panel, give a speech, that kind of thing. It'd be great to hear from the maker himself. And then on May 28th, Star Wars Starfighter by Sean Levy, an action-adventure set after the rise of Skywalker. We've been hearing great things about it, I hope it's going to be great. And in a brand new interview, Mia Goth teases that her character, a villain, is quote, very very cool, and she reckons fans are going to love her. So, fingers crossed. A big year in 2027. Share your thoughts on all of this news in the comments down below. Are you excited, my friends? Are you gonna go see the re-release? I definitely am. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and may the Force be with you, always.